Hey there, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be diving into some really bizarre diet trends throughout history. Now, mostly we'll be focusing on the weird and wacky diets, followed by women, many of which had dangerous, even deadly consequences. You know, throughout history, women have always felt immense societal pressure to be thin, beautiful, and attractive. And this pressure has pushed them to take some pretty drastic measures. So let's start off with some crazy diet trends from the early 1800s. One of the go-to drinks for many women looking to lose weight during this time was good old vinegar. Yeah, you heard me right. They believed that drinking vinegar could reduce fat and give you a nice slim figure. So instead of water, women were sipping on vinegar, probably hoping that the strong taste and smell would fill them up and prevent snacking. But, you know, vinegar alone doesn't have magical slimming properties. It's just a tasty condiment. But hold on, because it gets weirder. Another drink that gained popularity was mixing ground glass or plaster into their beverages. Yeah. Now let's talk about poisons. Because in the 1800s, women were falling for diet pills that contained ingredients like arsenic and strychnine, which is a no laughing matter. Arsenic, you know, is a poison that can cause symptoms like nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, tremors, and even death. Strychnine, on the other hand, can lead to things like muscle spasms, paralysis, and yeah, you guessed it, death. But people were taking these pills believing that they would help shed those extra pounds. That's how little they knew about the consequences of messing with such toxic substances. But hey, if something sounds too good to be true, it probably is. Now let's move on to the next mind-boggling method, swallowing live worms. Yep, ladies were literally putting live worms into their stomachs to get rid of stomach fat. Some believed that the worms would eat away the fat inside them. Others thought that they could excrete a substance that would break down fat cells. But you know what? Worms are not fat-eating creatures, nor do they possess any magic fat-busting abilities. And here's another strange one. Swallowing small pebbles or bones. Many believed that these hard objects would stay in the stomach, making it feel full and preventing overeating. It's kind of like the modern-day idea of swallowing a diet pill, except, well, more painful and more likely to cause internal damage. Alright, now let's shift gears a bit and explore this thing called Fletcherism. It was all the rage in the late 19th century. Fletcherism had followers chewing each mouthful of food 32 times before swallowing it. The idea was that by chewing food so much, it would turn into a tasteless mush, significantly reducing the desire to eat. Sounds ridiculous, right? Well, it actually is. Fletcher claimed that this excessive chewing would somehow change the chemical composition of the food, making it less appealing. But let me tell you, no amount of chewing is going to magically transform broccoli into a chocolate cake. And as you might guess, Fletcherism ended up severely restricting calorie intake. Followers often ended up subsisting on very small portions of food, which led to malnutrition and even starvation. Next, we have the 1860s meat diet. Yeah, you heard me right, just meat. Proponents of this diet believed that eating nothing but meat would cure all sorts of ailments, including obesity. They thought that meat was a perfect food, free from impurities and full of wholesome goodness. But excluding entire food groups like fruits, vegetables, and grains can lead to serious nutritional deficiencies and health problems. Alright, now let's discuss a diet trend that was quite popular during the Victorian era, the beef and wine diet. This involved eating lots of beef and drinking plenty of red wine, and it was recommended for treating everything from asthma to anemia and even cancer. The rationale behind this odd combination was that the protein in the beef would somehow counteract the supposed impurities in the blood, while the wine was thought to improve circulation. Moving on to the mid-1800s, we have the Banting diet, named after British Member of Parliament William Banting. This diet called for cutting out bread, sugar, potatoes, and beer. At the time, there was a lot of misinformation about the causes of obesity, and it was widely believed that carbohydrates were the main culprit. However, the Banting diet took a rather extreme approach by completely eliminating carbs, leaving followers with very few food options. In the early 1900s, celebrities like Lord Byron started promoting the so-called Byron diet. Basically, this diet consisted of raw meat, fish, eggs, and tea. Sounds kinda close to the carnivore diet, right? Well, there's one key difference. Raw meat. Byron championed eating raw meat as a way to enhance sexual prowess. Yes, he believed that biting into a juicy steak raw would somehow boost his masculinity. Now, let's talk about one of the weirdest and most bizarre diet pills ever seen. DrYen.com, Chutney's Marvelous Worm Tablets. These tablets supposedly contained ground-up tapeworms that would help people lose weight. Yeah, you heard me right. People were swallowing these little pills thinking they would help them shed pounds. Well, they did help with weight loss, but not in the way you might think. The tapeworms ended up living inside the digestive system, stealing nutrients from the food and making their hosts seriously ill. In the 1920s, ladies were advised to smoke cigarettes to keep their weight down. Cigarettes were marketed as a harmless and trendy way to slim down. Tobacco companies heavily advertised cigarettes as a must-have accessory for the modern woman who wanted to look her best. But let's be real. smoking is anything but harmless. We know now that smoking is super addictive and increases the risk of heart disease, lung cancer, and a whole host of other health problems. In the 1950s, some folks were drinking a specific type of fortified wine to lose weight. Sherry, a type of fortified wine, became a popular choice because it was believed to suppress appetite due to its high alcohol content. During this era, there wasn't much understanding of nutrition or how to achieve sustainable weight loss, so people were trying all sorts of random things. Let's jump to the 1970s now and talk about the grapefruit diet. This diet involved eating nothing but grapefruit for every meal, claiming that grapefruit could boost the body's metabolism and help shed those extra pounds. Some people were even having 10 or more grapefruits per day. While grapefruit does contain certain compounds that may aid weight loss, eating only grapefruit is not a healthy or balanced approach to weight management. In the 1980s, a new fad diet emerged involving the consumption of gelatin desserts made with the fat-free versions of cream and milk. Proponents of the diet believed that these desserts were a great alternative to regular high-fat foods and could help with weight loss. Sounds logical, right? Well, not exactly. Gelatin desserts don't provide the essential nutrients needed for a balanced diet. And lastly, let's talk about the cabbage soup diet, which got really popular in the 1990s. This diet had people eating nothing but cabbage soup for 7 days straight. The idea was that the cabbage soup would fill them up without packing on the pounds. But you know what? Cutting out entire food groups and severely restricting calories is never a good idea. Throughout history, there has been a consistent theme of dangerous and absurd diets that women have tried to achieve the desired body type of thinness. From ingesting toxins to chewing food excessively, these trends reveal how far people will go when it comes to changing their bodies to fit into society's narrow beauty standards. But why do you think these extreme diets become so popular? I'd love to hear your thoughts in the comments below. Also, please hit that like button if you enjoyed the video, and don't forget to subscribe for more historical tales. Thanks for watching and see you soon.